Hi, this is Nicole again. Today, I will be introducing a new topic of interest, the Feasts of Israel. What are they and why we should study them? The Feasts of Israel, also known as the Jewish festivals or holy days, are a series of celebrations that hold great significance in the Jewish faith. These feasts are deeply rooted in the history and culture of Israel, and they play a crucial role in the religious observance of the Jewish people. The feasts are a time for the Jewish community to come together, reflect on their history, and honor the commandments of God as outlined in the Torah. The Feasts of Israel, found in the biblical book of Leviticus, are a series of sacred festivals that were instituted by God to commemorate important events in the history of the Jewish people. While these feasts were originally prescribed for the Israelites, they hold significant spiritual and prophetic significance for Christians as well. One reason why the Feasts of Israel are important for Christians to study is because they provide a deeper understanding of God's redemptive plan for humanity. Each feast symbolizes different aspects of salvation and points to the ultimate fulfillment in Jesus Christ. For example, the Passover feast, which commemorates the Israelites' deliverance from slavery in Egypt, foreshadows the sacrificial death of Jesus as the ultimate Passover lamb who takes away the sins of the world. Additionally, the Feasts of Israel serve as reminders of God's faithfulness and provision. By studying these feasts, Christians can learn valuable lessons about trusting in God's promises, obedience to His commands, and experiencing His blessings in their lives. The Feast of Tabernacles, for example, teaches believers about the importance of dwelling in God's presence and celebrating His goodness. Furthermore, the Feasts of Israel offer insights into the cultural and historical background of the Bible, enriching Christians' understanding of the Scriptures and enhancing their spiritual growth. By studying the symbolism, rituals, and traditions of these feasts, believers can gain a deeper appreciation for the Jewish roots of their faith and develop a greater sense of unity with the Jewish people. Finally, the Feasts of Israel are not only an integral part of Jewish tradition but also a valuable source of spiritual wisdom and revelation for Christians. By studying these feasts, believers can deepen their understanding of God's redemptive plan, strengthen their faith in His promises, and grow in their relationship with Him. As we delve into the significance of these sacred festivals, we are reminded of God's faithfulness, provision, and love for His people, both in ancient times and today. There are 7 major feasts of Israel, each with its own unique customs, traditions, and observances. These feasts are spread throughout the Jewish calendar year and are based on the cycles of nature and the agricultural seasons. In this video, we will provide an in-depth and comprehensive overview of each of the Feasts of Israel, including their historical background, significance, biblical references, and the events that have already taken place or are yet to occur during each feast period. The first feast is called Passover and is also known as Pesach in Hebrew. It is one of the most important and widely observed feasts in the Jewish calendar. It commemorates the exodus of the Israelites from slavery in Egypt and their journey to freedom. The Israelites were instructed by God to mark their doors with the blood of a lamb so that the angel of death would pass over their homes and spare their firstborn children. This event is recorded in the book of Exodus in the Bible. Passover begins on the 15th day of the Hebrew month of Nisan and lasts for 7 days. In the year 2026, Passover will begin at sundown on April 15th and end at sundown on April 22nd in the English calendar. During Passover, Jewish people observe various traditions and rituals, including the Seder meal, which recounts the story of the Exodus through the retelling of the Haggadah. The Haggadah in Hebrew is a text that is used during the Passover Seder to tell the story of the Israelites' exodus from Egypt. The word Haggadah itself means telling or recounting, which is exactly what this text does. It recounts the events of the Exodus and instructs those participating in the Seder on how to celebrate and remember this important event in Jewish history. The Haggadah is a central part of the Passover celebration and is traditionally read aloud by the leader of the Seder. It includes prayers, blessings, and instructions for the meal, as well as stories, songs, and rituals that are meant to help participants remember and understand the significance of the Exodus. One of the most famous parts of the Haggadah is the 4 questions, which are traditionally asked by the youngest person at the Seder. These questions are meant to provoke discussion and reflection on the meaning of the Exodus and to engage participants in the telling of the story. The Haggadah also contains the order of the Seder, which includes the eating of symbolic foods, the retelling of the Exodus story, and the singing of songs of praise and thanksgiving. The text is meant to be read and studied not only during Passover but throughout the year as a way to remember the Israelites' liberation from slavery and to reflect on the themes of freedom and redemption. There are many different versions of the Haggadah, each with its own unique traditions and interpretations. Some versions are more traditional and orthodox, while others are more modern and inclusive. Regardless of the version used, the Haggadah serves as a powerful reminder of the Jewish people's history and their ongoing struggle for freedom and justice. The Haggadah is a central text in Jewish tradition that is used during the Passover Seder to retell the story of the Israelites' exodus from Egypt. It is a text that is filled with prayers, blessings, stories, and songs that help participants remember and reflect on the significance of the Exodus and the themes of freedom and redemption. The Haggadah is a powerful tool for engaging in Jewish history and tradition and for passing down these stories and lessons to future generations. The significance of Passover lies in its message of liberation and redemption. It serves as a reminder of God's faithfulness and the power of deliverance. Passover also emphasizes the importance of gratitude and remembrance, as Jews are called to reflect on their own personal journey to freedom and honor the sacrifices of their ancestors. The second feast is the Feast of Unleavened Bread, also known as Chag HaMatzot in Hebrew. It is closely linked to Passover and is observed immediately following the Passover feast. It lasts for 7 days and requires the removal of all leavened bread from Jewish households. This feast commemorates the hasty departure of the Israelites from Egypt, where they did not have time to let their bread rise. The Feast of Unleavened Bread serves as a reminder of the importance of humility and repentance. It symbolizes the need to rid oneself of sin and impurity in order to live a life of righteousness. The feast emphasizes the values of purity and dedication to God, encouraging Jews to strive for spiritual renewal and cleansing. In the year 2026, the Feast of Unleavened Bread will begin at sundown on April 22nd and end at sundown on April 29th in the English calendar. During this time, Jewish people consume unleavened bread, known as matzah, in place of regular bread. They also engage in prayer, reflection, and acts of charity to mark this sacred occasion. The third feast is the Feast of First Fruits, also known as Yom HaBikurim in Hebrew. It is a celebration of the spring harvest in Israel. It marks the beginning of the agricultural season and the offering of the first fruits to God as a token of gratitude and blessing. This feast symbolizes the concept of renewal, growth, and abundance. The Feast of First Fruits is closely tied to the Passover and the Feast of Unleavened Bread, as it falls on the day after the Sabbath following Passover. It is a time of joy and celebration, as the people of Israel present their offerings to God in recognition of His provision and provision. In the year 2026, the Feast of First Fruits will be observed on April 25th in the English calendar. During this feast, Jewish people bring the first fruits of their harvest to the temple and offer them up as a sacrifice. This act symbolizes their dependence on God for sustenance and their commitment to honoring Him with their resources. The fourth feast is the Feast of Weeks, also known as Shavuot in Hebrew. It is a significant agricultural and religious festival that marks the end of the grain harvest in Israel. It is celebrated 7 weeks, or 50 days, after the Feast of First Fruits and commemorates the giving of the Torah to the Israelites at Mount Sinai. Shavuot is a time of spiritual renewal and dedication to the commandments of God. It is considered a time of recommitment to the covenant between God and the Jewish people, symbolizing the importance of living a life in accordance with His teachings. In the year 2026, Shavuot will begin at sundown on June 7th and end at sundown on June 9th in the English calendar. During this feast, Jewish people engage in study, prayer, and acts of charity to honor the significance of the giving of the Torah. It is also a time for reflection on the importance of faith and obedience in the life of a believer. The fifth feast is the Feast of Trumpets, also known as Rosh Hashanah in Hebrew. It is the Jewish New Year and is considered one of the holiest days in the Jewish calendar. It marks the beginning of the High Holy Days and is a time of introspection, repentance, and renewal. Rosh Hashanah falls on the first day of the Hebrew month of Tishrei and lasts for 2 days. It is a time of blowing the shofar, a trumpet made from a ram's horn, to signify the calling of the people to repentance and the recognition of God as King of the universe. In the year 2026, Rosh Hashanah will begin at sundown on September 25th and end at sundown on September 27th in the English calendar. During this time, Jewish people participate in prayer services, attend synagogue, and engage in a festive meal to mark the beginning of a new year and seek God's forgiveness for their sins. The sixth feast is the Day of Atonement, also known as Yom Kippur in Hebrew. It is the holiest day in the Jewish calendar. It is a time of repentance, fasting, and prayer, during which Jewish people seek forgiveness for their sins and reconciliation with God. Yom Kippur falls on the 10th day of the Hebrew month of Tishrei and lasts for 1 day. It is a solemn and introspective day, during which Jewish people abstain from food, drink, and other physical pleasures as a sign of their repentance and devotion to God. In the year 2026, Yom Kippur will begin at sundown on October 4th and end at sundown on October 5th in the English calendar. During this time, Jewish people engage in prayer services, reflect on their actions, and seek reconciliation with others in order to prepare themselves for a new beginning. The seventh feast is the Feast of Tabernacles, also known as Sukkot in Hebrew. It is a joyous and festive celebration that commemorates the 40 years that the Israelites spent wandering in the desert after leaving Egypt. It is a time of thanksgiving, remembrance, and unity, as Jewish people dwell in temporary shelters called sukkahs to recall the makeshift dwellings they lived in during their time in the desert. Sukkot falls on the 15th day of the Hebrew month of Tishrei and lasts for 7 days. It is a time of joy and celebration, during which Jewish people invite guests into their sukkahs, wave the lulav and etrog, and participate in special ceremonies and rituals. In the year 2026, Sukkot will begin at sundown on October 9th and end at sundown on October 16th in the English calendar. During this time, Jewish people engage in the building of sukkahs, the waving of the lulav and etrog, and the recitation of special prayers to mark this sacred occasion. In conclusion, the feasts of Israel are an integral part of Jewish culture and tradition, serving as reminders of God's faithfulness, provision, and redemption. Each feast has its own unique significance and symbolism, reflecting the agricultural seasons, historical events, and religious teachings of the Jewish faith. By observing these feasts, Jewish people reaffirm their connection to their history, their community, and their faith. The feasts provide opportunities for reflection, celebration, and spiritual growth, as well as a time to honor the commandments of God and seek His presence in their lives. As we have explored in this video, the feasts of Israel are rich in symbolism, meaning, and historical significance. They invite us to delve deeper into the cultural and religious practices of the Jewish people, and to gain a greater understanding of the role that these feasts play in shaping the identity and faith of the Jewish community. As we look ahead to the year 2026 and beyond, let us remember the importance of these feasts in the lives of Jewish people around the world, and appreciate their enduring legacy and significance in the history of Israel. May we continue to learn, celebrate, and honor the feasts of Israel, as we seek to deepen our understanding of God's plan for His people and His creation. I hope this gives you a quick summary of the 7 feasts of Judaism and some of the key ideas contained therein. To learn more about ideas that impact our biblical worldview, visit our website at nehemiahreset.org or our rumble.com channel. If you want to support us, like this video and subscribe to our weekly newsletter detailing our recent videos by subscribing at nehemiahreset.org/email. Thanks for watching and have a great day.
Hi, this is Daniel again. The previous video was sponsored by Nehemiah Reset, a 501c3 Bible-believing organization. Our mission is to assist Christians in developing a stronger biblical worldview as it pertains to relevant cultural and biblical issues. We seek to inform Christ followers, equip them, and mobilize them into action to vote their biblical values and to actively engage in our culture locally and at the national level. We are committed to help Christians and non-believers to develop a better biblical worldview. Nehemiah Reset produces videos and ebooks to assist believers and explorers in developing a biblical worldview when it comes to cultural and biblical issues. We produce videos on key topics like public school indoctrination, the woke agenda, sex education, equity and inclusion, climate change, immigration, religious freedom, and lessons that can be learned from key subjects in the Bible. To learn more about Nehemiah Reset or to watch our latest videos, go to our website at nehemiahreset.org or our rumble.com channel. We produce new videos every week. To get a free weekly list of our latest videos, sign up for our weekly newsletter by signing up at nehemiahreset.org/email. You can support our website by liking our videos, subscribing to our channel, or providing donations to help us advertise for new subscribers. Thanks for your help in growing God's kingdom and bringing more people to Christ. Thank you for your support and help. Have a great day.